you think $1 million retirement is out of reach? What if it's hiding in just one bag of XRP, small enough to fit in your back pocket, big enough to buy you freedom? Now, before you grab the calculator, picture this, right? It's 2030. The sun's already cooking the sidewalks, your phone pings, and boom, your XRP stack just crossed 7 figures. No suit, no morning commute, just you in flip-flops deciding whether today's office is the beach or the balcony. Too dreamy? Maybe. Too impossible? Hang tight, because the math says otherwise, and by the end of this chat, you'll know exactly how many XRP you need, what it could cost today, and why the next 5 years could be the wildest chapter in Ripple's story yet. Back when Bitcoin was cheaper than a fast food combo meal, early birds who caught that worm ended up buying islands, or at least some pretty nice condos. The same with Shiba Inu's turbo run in 2021, turning pocket money into brand new Teslas. Now, crypto loves rewarding the bold, but it also loves testing your nerves. Now, XRP's been that moody cousin at the reunion. Sometimes the life of the party, sometimes sulking in the corner. Now, right now, it's kind of hanging around that kind of $2 and some change, a price that feels both respectable and, if you squint hard enough, still kind of a discount when you remember that people loaded up under 50 cents, less than a year and a half ago. So let's yank the curtain back on the big number, $1 million by December 2030. So first stop, the cautious optimism and optimists over at Changelly, right? Now they're analysts. They think that XRP kicks off 2030 at around $12, cruises past $17 by mid-year, and could close the year rubbing shoulders with around $20.22. So we grab a napkin, we do a little napkin math, divide that $1 million by 20.22 or $20.22, and you kind of land roughly at 49,455 tokens needed. That's a chunky bag, there's no denying it. But here's the kicker. At today's price, that would be around $105,000 out of pocket. It's expensive, sure. Yet rewind to November 2024 when XRP kind of flirted with $0.50, and the same bag costs less than a Honda Civic, around 25 grand. So timing, as always in crypto, is the kind of prankster that makes millionaires or memes. Feeling gutsier? Slide over to Telegon's table, where the coffee is stronger and the price target spicier, right? The average of $42.34 and a potential peak of $48.02 by the end of 2030. Now, at that kind of max figure, you only need 20,820 tokens. Today, that's roughly $44,000, about the price of a loaded electric SUV. Again, think back to those 50-cent days buying 20,820 coins, then cost you less than a round trip to Disney for a family of 4. Hindsight's a savage teacher, but foresight is the passport to early retirement. But wait, there's an AI in the room. ChatGPT's own projection for XRP sits in the $25 to $50 spread if the whole crypto market balloons to $20 to $30 trillion. The high end of that range, 20,000 tokens, price tag today around $42,600. It's nothing to sneeze at, but still miles below a downtown studio in Dubai. And remember, right, those same 20,000 coins scooped at kind of 50 cents only cost you 10 grand, which is basically a 2-week holiday budget if you're a little kind of bougie with your hotel choices. Now, numbers alone, they don't tell the full story. There's always a twist, the elephant, or should I say, the hawk in the room. is regulation. Now, Ripple's sparring match with the SEC has been longer than some Netflix trilogies, but every courtroom victory kind of chips away at uncertainty. So picture a final bell where Ripple walks out holding a shiny settlement, and suddenly every US bank that's been flirting with blockchain but scared of the compliance boogeyman gets the green light to plug in RippleNet. Overnight, corridors of cross-border payments that move at kind of sloth speed could actually fire XRP through the pipes like it's a roller skate. Now, if that switch flips, today's debate about $20 versus $50 may feel laughable or laughably quaint. Then there's the adoption snowball, right? Ripple's partnerships span, 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗠𝗠𝗘𝗥𝗦 commercial bank in Thailand to Santander in Spain, central bank digital currency pilots, yep, those two. Each new corridor adds volume, and volume is fuel. So let's think of a village turning into a city once the highway arrives. Everything accelerates, property prices pop, and everybody kind of wonders why they didn't grab land sooner. Now, in XRP speak, liquidity begets liquidity, right? The more the network's used, the easier it becomes for institutions to justify even bigger transactions, kicking off a victorious kind of loop that historically sends charts parabolic. Still, let's chew on the challenge. XRP has matured. Gone are the kind of penny stock days when a single tweet could triple the price. To climb from $2 to $20, it needs heavyweight catalysts, regulatory clarity, genuine on-chain utility, perhaps even an ETF stamp of approval. But remember, Bitcoin went from $1,000 to over $50,000 in a similar maturity curve. Markets price in risk until the risk dissolves. Then they scramble to reprice opportunity. The game isn't about predicting the exact domino. It's actually about, owning the board before the cascade starts. Now, I'm going to level with you. Right, saving 6 figures to buy 49,000 tokens right now is no small feat, right? But strategies aren't binary, right? Dollar cost averaging, scooping up fixed amounts every single week, turns market dips into discounts. Maybe you start with a modest $1,000 a day, add a few hundred each payday, and let volatility do the heavy lifting. Now, over 5 years, you'll ride bear seasons that kind of feel like watching paint dry, and bull spurts that make espresso taste like decaf, right? Consistency beats bravado, right? Tortoises still win more races than hares in this arena. Zoom out and imagine the 2030 fanfare then. Headlines screaming, XRP hits $50, Telegram charts lighting up, and your portfolio tracker doing some pretty rare things, forcing you to double check because 7 digits looks, or at least just looks weird on a phone screen, right? Your 20,000 tokens stash is worth a cool million. Changelly's $49,000 route, still $1 million. Even the cautious scenario where XRP still kind of stalls at maybe $10 leaves a kind of disciplined accumulator comfortably ahead of most retirement plans. And that's without selling kidneys to chase meme coin hype cycles. Now, of course, every rose has thorns. Black swan hacks, macro meltdowns, or a competitor elbowing Ripple out of the payment rails could clip wings. Right? That's why diversification, having other horses like Ethereum, Bitcoin, maybe even Cardano, or maybe even a sprinkle of AI-driven altcoins, right? It keeps your net quite wide. So think of XRP as the star striker on the soccer team. Brilliant, but you still need kind of midfielders to control the pace. Balance doesn't necessarily just protect wealth, it actually preserves sanity when charts throw tantrums, if you will. And here is the human side. What does $1 million really buy? Right? Maybe it wipes out a mortgage, bankrolls your kids' university fees, or funds 6 months a year traveling. Money itself isn't freedom. It's the ticket to choose your mornings, right? That's why mapping out the exact token count now matters, right? It transforms someday into how many and by when, replacing, fuzzy dreams with a grocery list that you can clip away at, right? Every time that you grab a latte, you'll kind of mentally weigh it against another fraction of XRP and someday choose the coin instead. Now that's the kind of quiet discipline the $1 million fortunes are actually born from. Okay, so a quick pit stop, right? If you're craving real-time chatter on strategies, whale alerts, and the occasional meme that only crypto degenerates find funny, jump into our free crypto Discord server via the link that's in the description down below. It's the fastest way to swap ideas with a community that gets why you're up at 3 AM refreshing charts instead of counting sheep. All right, so where's the climax? Well, picture the future where Ripple's tech becomes the plumbing for global settlements. CBDCs plug in like Lego blocks and regulatory fog clears. Institutions, once skittish, rush in like water behind a broken dam because early adopters brag about fee savings in the millions. Liquidity spikes, daily volumes dwarf today's highs, and suddenly that $48 Telegon target looks conservative. So you wake up, open your wallet, and the numbers tell a story that started right here, with a decision to collect a certain amount of digital tokens while the rest of the world scrolled past. Fast forward to December 31st, 2030. Fireworks crackles, friends toast, and you smile at your phone screen one last time for the year, right? Whether you went the 49,000 token marathon or the 20,000 token sprint, right? The goal lines across, goals have been crossed, right? You didn't just watch the crypto revolution, you rode it all the way to retirement. And that, my friend, is how speculative gamble transforms into a life chapter titled Option B, doing whatever I want. All right then, deep breath. We've crunched the numbers, we've weighed the hurdles and peeked at the what ifs. Right, your action plan now is quite simple. Decide your target stack, chart a buying schedule and stick the landing. Right, markets will wobble, headlines will scream, but discipline doesn't care about the noise.